Mr. Bettany.
Oh my gosh, how are you?
We're older than last time you saw us.
No, you're not.
Things are bad in here.
The great news is that the day is coming to an end.
Yeah. Oh.
Okay, so this is the most hilarious film. I giggled all the way through it. How on earth do you stop yourself laughing when you've got the giggles?
We don't. We just laughed our way through and blue takes constantly, and you know.
You just keep laughing until the grip stares at you like
I want to get home, man. I want to go home.
Can you stop now? So yeah, it's at that point you stop laughing.
Yeah, when you realize it's funny to you, but it's not funny to them. Not after like 8 takes.
But yeah, that is true.
I don't like it!
Pretty action-packed. You're falling out windows, cars. I mean, you know, it's all going on. Were there any injuries?
Yeah.
A few. Yeah, but you know, you're getting paid a lot to get some bruises. It's fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
you always get beat up on movies. You know?
You're so tough. You can handle it.
I'm just so overpaid, really is.
Yeah. I'm bored.
You two are the best partners in crime. What do you look for in an accomplice?
Well, you know.
You can't say it.
I don't know.
No, you can't say that. Whatever's going through your head right now, don't say it out loud.
I have a strong feeling that I can't really answer this. Go on.
Come on, top 3 things you look for in an accomplice.
3 things, we couldn't get 1 a minute ago, and now we got 3. This is going to be a problem.
There's nothing clean.
There's nothing clean. No.
Everything's solid.
Swiftly on to adventures. You go from one adventure to another adventure. What's the last adventure you've been on recently?
Christ, we're boring.
God, we're really boring.
We said we have nothing to say.
You went through the desert
bored.
without any shoes?
Oh yeah, no, I went to Dubai. I went to Dubai with my son, and we were in the desert, and we were on a camel, and then by the afternoon we were skiing because they have an indoor ski mountain in the middle of the desert because it's Dubai and they do really mad things, and you really realize the world is in deep trouble.
Deep caca.
It's in deep caca because it takes a lot of energy to keep that mountain cold, that snow cold.
That's true. I'll say my most recent adventure that I've had. I went to a 7-Eleven for the first time in about 25 years.
I know this.
I did, and I can't tell you how great it felt.
What did you buy?
Everything. No, you know, I mean, you gotta get donuts there, you gotta get a Slurpee there, you know, you gotta get, you know, trash, food.
Did you do that with Doug Stanhope?
No, that was Doug Stanhope, who was this fantastic comedian, a genius. We went to Target together with my daughter to buy her school supplies. No, who was there? There was someone there. I don't know.
And lastly, how did you celebrate the end of this film?
Can't tell you.
On wrap.
I took the mustache off, that's what I did.
Burnt the moustache.
Yeah, had a mustache burning party. No, at the end of the, you know, it's always somewhat sad, you know, at the end of a film, because you've spent a good amount of time with people, you know.
You're like a family.
Yeah, it is. It's like a traveling circus, really.
Well, it was so nice to chat to you twice today, and I'm gonna break all the rules. But just because. Okay.
We'll do it,
Are we ready, guys?
Here we go.
How satisfying it is as an actor to take on something that's pretty different from yourselves, vocally, physically, and what kind of helped you find them, their movement and their voices.
Well, I based mine on, well, from firstly the book, and then Johnny's 2 security guards, Jerry and Malcolm, and a growl that I started doing like a dog.
Yeah,
dog.
The growl in the beginning was slightly off-putting because here was this friend that I, you know, knew very, very well, and he was kind of growling,
Actually,
involuntary growling. You know, I was worried about him.
And Charlie makes a few involuntary kind of noises, doesn't he? I love those.
Oh yes, his frustration, you know, his rage, that sort of thing.
And you spend quite a bit of time in the UK. What do you enjoy about sort of researching for and taking on an English accent for roles?
You know, it feels natural to me. It feels very natural to me. British accents.
you spend so much time here.
Exactly. I spent a lot of time over here, you know, and it's also just. I mean, the culture is fascinating. The endless history of this place, you know. Yeah. Plus, Christopher Hitchens was born here, wasn't he? Wow. I'm in.
And we love you in the Fast show, of course, and then
Oh, thanks, man. God,
Life is Short, a bit more.
Oh, yeah.
Life is Too Short, rather, a bit more recently. Who are your comic heroes in Britain? And of course, there's Paul Whitehouse in the movie.
Paul Whitehouse is one of my heroes. You'd probably say the same.
Yeah,
Right?
absolutely.
I thought Paul and Charlie Higson were great. Everyone on the Fast Show. I thought they were the best actors I'd ever seen. So yeah, Paul, I would say, is up there. Alec Guinness is up there. Peter O'Toole.
Steve Coogan.
Steve Coogan. You know what it is? Is these people or these artists recognize timing and the importance of timing. I mean, really the importance of timing, you know, comedic timing. It's that one beat extra. And if the director cuts off half of that little millisecond, screw the whole joke, you know. And those guys understood that.
Johnny Depp, Paul Bettany, thanks very much.
Now, before I left, they asked me to get fan questions for you guys, and I got hundreds of fan questions coming in. And one question I got, which I really loved, was, out of all the characters you've played in your career, which one do you think is closest to who you are as a person, and the furthest away from who you are as a person for each of you?
Oh God.
It's so hard because I think with all of them, no matter how dark or weird or whatever, they all come from inside. You know, they come from a place of truth, as outrageous as they might be. So that each one has a kind of, you know, a sliver of our truths in there. So, but I guess the closest would be, for me, probably Edward Scissorhands.
Yes.
You know.
Can I ask why?
Just that universal feeling, you know, that emotion of, not necessarily fitting in, you know, where everybody else does, or you know, it's, I guess, you know, more and more it's become like feeling like a novelty in a weird way. So all that stuff is, that's sort of at play, you know. What about you?
Yeah, your closest movie.
Well, what he just said, for a start, is true. I tend to look, when I'm first looking at a character, for the characteristics that I don't possess. So absolutely, some of them, usually you own some of those characteristics already, and then the other ones you work towards, you know, mimicking and discovering and thinking about. And I think I'm ill-equipped to judge which one I'm most like, because it's a little mad.
It would be weird.
I want to ask you this. I'm just a nerd about movie making. How does the actual stash work, in the sense of, do you remove it every day, and how does the glue not like rip your skin off? How does that work?
Well, it can. It can easily rip your skin off. But yeah, no, it's applied, you know, with like spirit gum, so it stays really well. And at the end of the day, if Paul Bettany hasn't made you laugh to the point where your mustache actually vaults off of your face about 4 or 5 feet, that happened.
Yeah.
My mustache actually, I mean, from laughing, it
I was
escaped.
hoping to get it to land on Gwyneth Paltrow.
It was
If I
close.
could just get you to laugh hard enough, it could and stick.
Now, I love Jock's relationship with Mortdecai, and I was thinking to myself, I just love how he has his back throughout the entire film. He's always there for him. So I'm wondering, out of all the other characters you've played, Mr. Depp, if you could have Jock with you on one of those films, taking your back, what movie would you want him in with you?
Well, I would say all of them, but I'd say who could really use a jock is Captain Jack Sparrow.
Yes.
I think he could use a jock.
Someone called Verbinski.
Jock would probably like a bit of the back end as well.
Yes, absolutely. And of the previous movies that I'm not even in.
Well, of course, because they're all leading up to you.
Yes, exactly. That's what it is.
We're about to turn this thing
Captain
over.
Jock.
Captain Jock Sparrow. Captain Jock Strappo.
Captain Jock
Strappo.
the Italian.
Oh, my long-lost Italian brother, Strappy.
Brilliant ideas in here. Yeah, I didn't realize they're wrapping me up.
Sorry.
Good to see you guys as always.
Too, brother. Thanks, man.
David Kep was telling me his mum calls this film Murgatroyd. What's the worst way you've heard this name of this film butchered?
I think Johnny P, you know, he did a pretty good job.
Butchering the name Mortdecai.
Mortdecai. I mean, it was very funny. Mortdecai.
I mean, they should have put that on the poster, frankly.
I agree. Phonetic.
Yeah. There's something in the trailer which I love, which is when you, Johnny, pull what we call in the office the Mortdecai face. You've said, I don't need any help with my luggage. I have a manservant. Then you pull a face that I'm going to try here.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
What's the trick?
I mean, it's that particular area to travel to is not all that difficult, only in the sense that, yeah, it's pretty easy to be confused by someone's, weirdness.
How did it feel on the seventh time, in the seventh take, carrying Johnny up that escalator?
He did get heavier throughout the takes, actually.
Isn't that weird?
Yes, that was difficult, but it's very sweet because he says "uppy, uppy" in it, which is something that my daughter says to him when they're together. Agnes says we would say to Johnny "uppy, uppy," so that's where it came from.
Now I know.
Happy Joe.
Uppy, uppy.
Now, David Kep has also described you, Johnny, as essentially being one of those Google self-driving cars. And his phrase was, it knows exactly where to go.
I trust him on that.
You trust him. Did you find that yourself? You just watched him do his thing?
Oh yeah, no, I mean he would come on, but
Oh,
you know, go on.
There's no thing without him. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yes, sir. But David Kep is being very modest there.
Sure.
He's he would come up with some great direction. One of which was when Johnny was on the bonnet of the car, and it wasn't quite what he wanted. He didn't quite know how to give the direction, and then he suddenly had a eureka moment, and he said,
He said, "You ever see a dog trying to get out of a pool?" And the image immediately hit me, you know. Of course, that's perfect. And that's one of the best pieces of direction I've ever got in my life.
Good to see you guys. Very funny film. And this kind of reminded me about many years ago, the first time I ever saw Peter Sellers' film. I could not stop laughing. It was just the best kind of thing. Is that what resonated with you guys?
Most definitely.
absolutely, yeah.
I mean, the opportunity to do that type of buddy picture, if you will, you know what I mean? A very bizarre relationship, you know.
I wanted to know, because you two are a great comedic duo. I mean, very good together.
Thinking of taking it on the road, actually.
Well, that was my next question, but how hard was it not to crack each other up?
Oh, it was impossible. We did, and the director, we had to actually move the director further and further down the hallway because he kept running takes by laughing.
Yeah.
And I once made Johnny laugh so much, my crowning glory was I made him laugh so much that his moustache flew across the room.
It shot off my face about 4 feet because I burst into laughter and the glue just wasn't holding.
On the couch.
I would think the selling point for you, Paul, is you see a character named Jockstrap. I'm in.
I'm absolutely in. Yeah, and you know, Johnny gave me the books because we were making a movie together called Transcendence that had nary a joke in it.
That one.
And so he sent me them to cheer me up, and they're really delicious. I recommend anybody, you know, to get them. They're so naughty. It's a guilty pleasure.
Magnificent.
You feel
author.
drunk after you've read them, actually, even if you're not drinking it.
He's one of the only authors, you know, out of maybe a handful that have made me laugh out loud when I've read the books. So Kirill Bonfiglioli, who unfortunately didn't even finish the last book.
Right.
His friend had to finish it because he passed away, which is not a joke and not funny. However, he's still not here. He's not doing press.
No, he's not.
Okay.
Okay, what triggers your gag reflex?
Paul. I don't know. You know, certain odors could do it. A noise or two.
Journalist?
My fingers.
Yeah. Oh. No, journalists don't. No. Some of my favorite humans.
Well, I've got a very strong gag reflex. You know, I mean, strong gag reflex? Very strong. I don't really gag.
No, it's that strong.
Yes, it's strong in that way.
It's good to know. Congratulations.
This is like so funny. I love the silliness of it, and I loved you all in that, like you and Gwyneth and Ewan, and I got the feeling that making it was probably as much fun as it was to watch.
Yeah, we didn't stop laughing. I mean, to be frank, usually when a film comes to an end, even though you're sort of pretending to shake people's hand, oh, I'm going to miss you so much, you're thinking, God, I can't wait to get home. I can't wait to get home. But this was really sad to let go of at the end. We really did laugh a lot.
Was there lots of outtakes? I can just imagine with the tash and the funny eye and the accents.
I think that there was probably more goofs and outtakes than there is
Usable
minutes
footage.
in the film. it's probably triple whatever the movie is. I mean, it was constant. You know?
Jock is my manservant and handles all of our most pressing affairs. Well done, Jock.
You guys are good friends and you've worked together before.
Yeah.
Paul, did you ever imagine that you would be Johnny's manservant called Strap?
I had dreamt of it for years.
Johnny had needed a jockstrap for years, and
Paul Bettany is my
I leapt
jockstrap.
into the breach, so to speak.
You did a great job.
Thank you very much.
And Charlie Mortdecai has this even a new way of mumbling. He's got his own special way of talking, which I imagine you quite enjoyed getting into, Johnny.
Oh yeah, no, it was really fun. It was really fun finding him, I guess. You know, finding the voice. And oddly enough, you know, because the book in the books he's a very different sort of look. You know, in the book, I think they suggested Bonfiglioli suggested he had curly black hair and all that. But I think the first time that I saw him was, you know, the first day of shooting, really, because combed the hair back, put the mustache on.
There he was.
The part between the teeth, and then just there he was.
But you've got a tash, but you didn't grow one for this film. You
No,
wanted
I
to
couldn't.
stick
I
it on.
couldn't grow one like that
No.
in a million years.
There's lots of talk of vintage wines and whiskies, etc. I just wondered if you insisted on it being the real thing or whether it was flavoured water.
I mean, I always beg the prop man to hook me up, but they don't.
Never.
Never.
I thought you get to stay over stuff like that.
Those days are gone.
I end up you hook yourself up. To oxygen, I'm saying.
Yeah.
No, I was,
Paul, you said your kids call Johnny Uncle Fun.
yeah,
Why is that?
because he has an island. No, he's, you know, I mean, it is. I was thinking about it earlier. Somebody was asking me, and he comes around, and it is like having some hobo magician from the 1930s turn up at your house who just sort of, and you know, the kids love him because he falls over a lot.
I think because they can just push me over.
Yeah, keel sideways.
Yeah.
Have you guys ever been to Houston? Any of you two?
I haven't.
I have.
And
Yeah.
did you have a good time?
I did, from what I remember. No, I did have a good time in Houston. I've been all around Texas. I'm sort of fascinated by the state of Texas.
Very cool.
It's just got so many different sort of elements. It's like kind of Australia attached to the U.S.
You guys have worked together before, but I love the chemistry in this film. I mean, you guys just obviously make the movie, and your characters are just so dynamic. Any stories that we didn't see off the screen?
Yes, but they're unrepeatable.
So many. I was pregnant. I mean, I was actually expecting.
Tell them that one.
Oh, I wasn't pregnant.
Okay, we're done. You guys actually, you filmed it so many places, you know, obviously here in London and Los Angeles. Where was your favorite place to shoot Mortdecai?
Oh, it's got to be London, right?
I'd say it was just, I mean, yeah, because that's where they hail from, and I think there's more opportunity somehow.
But the stuff at the Standard Hotel in LA was very funny.
That was pretty fun.
Where are you? Oh, a terribly vulgar place called Los Angeles. I am Mortdecai.
Do you need help with your bags?
No, I do not need help with my bags. I have a bloody manservant.
The mustache, obviously, in Mortdecai.
Yeah.
I have one in my pocket. You've inspired me to wear it everywhere now. But did you name it? It's almost its own character in this film.
You know what? I didn't respect it enough to give it a name, so I'd sort of treat it. I'd be a little rough with the mustache, to be honest. Call it names, you know, fuzzy thing, you know, stuff like that.
Charlie Mortdecai, life tips. What would he say?
The second you wake up in the morning, first thing you should do is have a cocktail.
Your characters almost have a bromance going on in this movie. Tell us something about their relationship.
It's a very special relationship. You know, he treats him really badly, shoots me, runs me over, but I still love him. I would do anything for him.
Oh, I believe I've just shot John.
Excellent shot, sir!
Man down!
And we rehearsed those things quite a lot.
A lot of the things that happened to me in the movie, Johnny came up with, and I think he asked me to play the role just so he could keep putting me in jeopardy and laughing at me, wrestling a Doberman pinscher or setting fire. Let's set fire to Paul today. I think we'll set fire to
It
him.
was on fire.
Yeah, it was on fire.
Wow. But you're healthy now, everything is fine, right?
Everything's good. Thank you very much for your concern.
The movie has an obsession with mustaches, especially your character. I brought some for you.
Oh.
And I would love to know which one you would pick for your friend. So, Paul, if you could pick one for Johnny, and Johnny, you for Paul, please.
This
What
is
would you
really
think?
difficult, but I'd personally like to see you as a bandit. I'm not saying what sort of bandit, but you've already got a bandit on. Yours is this is your moustache.
You're right.
I have your moustache. I can't.
It's
get
really
the
hard
damn
to
thing-
take it off, right?
I can't get the damn thing open. You can imagine it. Okay.
Well, it will fit to you too, actually.
so?
Yeah.
Oh, this is marvelous. Thank you for this.
Were you jealous that you didn't get to wear a mustache?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Having just experienced that one.
Oh my God.
No, it's impossible.
No.
Give up. Give up.
Which one would you
Give
pick?
up.
Show
It's
it
like
to us.
algebra. Nobody can do it.
This is supposed to be his.
Oh, what's the name of
Is
that
it better?
one?
What's that one called?
The Schlaumeier.
Oh, it means like clever boy. You got the clever boy then.
There you go.
That's lovely. Thank you very much.
Well, you're welcome. So we are very excited to see you in Pirates of the Caribbean and in Avengers. What could you imagine, Johnny? Could you imagine Paul as a pirate? And Paul, could you imagine Johnny as a superhero?
Could I imagine Johnny as a superhero? No, not really. No. But then I can't really imagine myself as a superhero. So, but somehow it happened. But I still unbelievably can't talk about the Avengers. And every time I do, I see like a red dot appear on my chest, or I see sunlight glinting off a telescopic lens. And so I'm sworn to secrecy on that one, I'm afraid.
How about you, Johnny? Could you see him as a pirate? Would you like to see him?
Oh.
Was that a yes?
No.
He smelled it.
Yes.
He smelled it.
Yes. I would.
Yeah, he smelled it.
I think he'd make a great pirate. He'd be great anything.
I could be like your simple brother that turns up.
Oh, Ian. Go to Australia with me.
Simpleton brother.
Paint your nose blue.
I want to steer the ship. I want to steer.
Please be that guy.
Well, thank you so much for being.
Doc, can you describe your boss?
He's a well-meaning idiot. Always gets us into terrible scrapes that I have to then get him out of. But I'd die for him.
You would die for him. That is very good. I've heard there's a rumor going around. It's called Open Your Balls. What is it?
I can't discuss that. I can't discuss the opening of balls.
Secret code.
It's a secret code.
It's a secret code. It's a pact between Johnny I and the director we will never disclose.
There's Joanna. How would you describe her?
I would treat her very special. Very, very special. And be afraid of her.
You're afraid of her?
Yeah, no, I'm scared.
Is it true that she doesn't like this?
Yeah.
She's not keen.
Why?
I think it's mustache envy. That's what I think. I don't want to.
Because she can't wear one.
She gets like 3 or. She has about 17 hairs.
Yeah.
On her, in that area.
Yeah.
But that is not going to constitute.
That doesn't make a mustache. Yeah.
No. So I do my best, but she's so insecure. She's got to.
For the last information, do you have a favorite ice cream? Ice cream? Favorite flavor? Ice cream?
Yes, I quite like vanilla.
Vanilla.
Salted. Salted.
Salted.
Salted.
Peanut butter. Chocolate. Vanilla.
Salted. Salt.
Salted salt.
Salted salt ice cream.
Salted salt ice cream. That is my favorite too. That is weird, actually.
That is weird.
It's a pleasure to talk to you about this film. Johnny, you have this talent of imagining characters in your mind purely, infused sometimes by other characters. So was it the case in this one? Were you always meant to play an eccentric aristocrat?
It always seemed like something like that would be on the way, because it's a part that I have never played, especially within the context of this, kind of sophisticated romp, much like the Peter Sellers Pink Panther movies. So yeah, I mean, I what was the original question again?
No, it's if you were always meant to play an eccentric aristocrat, how do you imagine them in your head?
Right.
Getting them out of your head is the.
That's the problem.
That's the trick.
They never leave you. But Charlie's was. His objective was pretty simple. It just required a lot of complications to get there. I had a gas.
Yeah, me
too. Everything was just perfect.
It was so much fun. You guys have been together in 2 films before that, but this was a real bonding experience, wasn't it?
Yeah, we were talking about this earlier, that on the previous 2 movies that we had been in together, we all of the jokes and mayhem happened off camera, and
yes.
it was lovely to sort of let all of that dangle on screen, as it were. You know, it was a lot of. It was so much fun, and our director was ruining takes by laughing. Crew were ruining takes by laughing. It was just. It was. You know, usually it's such a relief to go home, and it was actually. It was kind of sad at night. We used to hang around in the trailer afterwards. Wanted longer days.
I'll just stop by the set and see if there's anything they need me to do.
Right.
So I could always go back in and make up. It's only 2.5 hours. It's fine.
Talk about that. Are we talking about mustache obsession? David just told me all those stories about emailing pictures of various mustaches.
That was one of the very strangest experiences I've ever had. Two grown men in contact with one another, sending like digital photographs of mustaches and things like that. I found it kind of gross. I found it kind of gross.
But you found the perfect one, so I guess the research.
Yeah, because none of those things are. The Franz Josef is like really one of these guys, and I think it might have been too subtle, so we went with a smaller one. It says something without saying anything. It says yes without saying no.
So real statement.
I love it.
Right? Charlie Mortdecai's mustache says yes without saying no. Je suis Charlie.
Charlie Mortdecai.
Lui aussi, il est Charlie.
Oui.
On est tous Charlie.
Oui.
So, manservant as a description for a character, that must have been something laughable from the beginning.
Well, I mean, Johnny gave me the books. I read the books. Jock is a great character, and from a sort of rich history of clever servant, stupid master, master getting himself into trouble, servant getting him out of trouble. It's delicious stuff to play with, and you know, he as irritating as he finds Charlie's. Cowardliness and ineptness at times, he loves him and would lay down his life for him, and that's his station in life, you know, and he's very happy with it. And that's what you get from the books. It's a real, it's actually a real loving relationship.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely.
There are others. The fans had two questions for you. The first one was, if you were to play someone's biography, who would you choose?
Oh, boy.
Well, you just did. Sort of.
Yeah. Carol Channing, I thought of for a while. And I still think she's lovely, but,
Peebo Bryson.
I'll tell you what, you know who might be fun? Who was that grim fucker up in Northern Ireland? Big giant guy.
Ian Paisley.
He dead.
Ian Paisley?
Yeah. I want to dress up like him. No, I don't want to dress like him. What should I do?
A question about Peter Sellers. You know, we spoke about those films and the tone of those movies. Are they the films that the comedies that you most watched, both of you, before becoming actors? What was the main source of inspiration for movies like this one?
Oh, I grew up watching those movies, you know. I grew up watching movies in my house. I didn't go out much. So, you know, I was endlessly, watching all of those old Ealing comedies. And we had a black and white television. And I thought every film was black and white. I sometimes see movies that I go, oh, that film was in colour. You know what I mean? Because I remember it so well as a black and white film, but all of those, you know, Alec Guinness films and Peter Sellers films were what I grew up with, and peculiarly enough, what you grew up with, you know, in America, which is makes you very strange.
No, that was huge there.
Was it?
Yeah, the Pink Panther was enormous, still is. And I love, well, you know, any actor with any semblance of thought in his head has to love him, has to, you know, has to worship Sellers. Because like the guys that I watched as a kid, for some reason, like this public broadcasting station, PBS was showing, they were showing a bunch of Charlie Chaplin films for like a week, and I watched them as a kid and just fell in love with the guy. And then I looked around a little more and I found Buster Keaton, and I thought they were geniuses, you know, and they were. But it wasn't like I had any particular need for it at the time, and I still don't know I was so interested. But those guys were heavily influenced, a heavy influence on me. Lon Chaney Sr., heavy influence. I think what I love best about that is it's just emotion. It's just what you can produce through your eyes, through your body language, you know. So that doesn't come for free. I mean, it's a kind of a strange part of the process, I guess.
Every time I talk to Paul, I ask the same thing, and I'm going to ask it again today. I apologize for not including you in this question.
Don't worry, I asked the same thing you were going to ask.
What do I need to do, and what do fans need to do to get another Master and Commander? Because I really still need that movie.
Raise $100 million.
Okay. So Kickstarter is...
That's just for Russell. That's just for Russell.
That might be true. But moving into why I get to talk to you guys today, one of the things that's really cool about this is that it has a lot of witty banter. And it's like, it reminded me of like an old school Hollywood movie in terms of the dialogue and the characters. Talk a little bit about, is that what appealed to you? Could you, or just talk about the witty banter?
Well, it was expertly written, you know. I mean, coming off the book and then bringing that into a screenplay and then getting that on film is quite a task in itself.
It was a 10-year endeavor for you.
It was, yeah. And then when we get in there with David Kapp, who's the perfect director for this, and you know, Paul, it turned into, it's sort of had its own life in a weird way. Don't you think?
I do, yeah.
Because David started to do that snappy dialogue stuff.
Yeah, and he could actually, you know, he's a great writer, and he could rewrite if he would come up with ideas the whole time, and that's usually a very dangerous thing. But he thinks so clearly and quickly, and it was we laughed so much making this movie, and the director laughed so much that we had to actually move him out and down the hall because he was ruining.
Chuck his monitor.
My next question was going to be, who ruined the most takes from laughing?
Both of us.
The director.
Oh yeah, the director. Yeah.
It's true. My crowning glory, because Johnny's much better at keeping a straight face. My crowning glory was making him laugh so hard that his moustache lapped across the room. I was hoping it was going to land on Gwyneth Paltrow's top lip.
It actually did about a 4 or 5 foot, vault off of my face. It was a burst of hysterical laughter, and the thing just went. Boing.
That is completely awesome.
Isn't it cool? One of my finest moments was when we were doing Gwyneth's close-up, and she got the giggles, I got the giggles, and then she just looked at me crying, laughing, and she said, "Please stop being funny." That made me happy.
Before I run out of time with the two of you, I have to ask, I'm so excited for Black Mass and this Keith Richards documentary.
Yeah.
One of you could talk about both, and I'm incredibly excited to see Vision come to life in Avengers. Could you guys talk about that stuff?
What am I talking about?
Keith Richards' documentary is amazing. I've seen it. It's extraordinary.
He's seen a rough cut. Yeah. The Keith thing is something so important. That's why we've really taken our time with it to make sure that it's a perfect document, or as perfect as it can be. And then, so something I'm really excited about, and Black Mass was, it was a real challenge, to make all that work. And when you're essentially bringing James Bulger back to his old neighborhood where he's looked upon slightly unpleasantly. Yeah, that was kind of weird. Meeting some of the people that he met.
I can't wait.
Yeah. Scott Cooper killed it. I mean, the guy, it's his third film, and the guy's like a master, What about you?
Yeah, I'll tell you the ending. Yeah, no, a red dot appears on me whenever I start to talk about Marvel films. What can I tell? I can tell you that I've kept it secret for about 3 years. I've known that this was going to happen, and I'm not about to give the game away right now because we've managed to keep it really under wraps. There's only a few images out, and but it's pretty grand.
Totally. I gotta go. Thank you both
Thanks,
so much.
man. Thank you.
By the way,